I just see a meme today saying if you got a beard looking like this, it's not really a beard. Some gaps there. Allow me, man. This is what I call L-plate beard. We've got to start from somewhere. Hi there guys, and welcome to the first ever episode of A Dash of Sports. I'll be your host and presenter, Dashiki Dash, and on this show I'll be talking about all things sports related. That's from football, boxing, MMA, and I might break you off with a little bit of wrestling.
Wrestling is sports entertainment.
Yes, I know, you told me already. Wrestling is sports entertainment. If it's sports and it's entertaining, believe you me, I'll be talking about it. But before I start, we've been going through some weird times, and the coronavirus, COVID-19, has definitely taken the world by storm, affecting everything. Life as we know it has definitely changed. It's been having a major impact on all sporting events, whether it's been suspended, cancelled, or completely locked off. I'm talking about everything from football, boxing, MMA, even kabaddi. That's been locked off. But hey, without further ado, today I'm going to be starting off with some football, with the Premier League announcing that they're going to be restarting in June. I can't see that happening. Now, with that being said, there's no deadline that's been set in terms of when the league will actually be completed. So how is that going to affect the contracts, players' contracts, and also the transfer window? That's going to be very interesting to see. Also, Newcastle United, the Geordies, the Magpies, are they going to be the new powerhouse with their Saudi Arabian prince taking over the club? They could be the new Man City, they could be the new Chelsea. Can money really solve all their problems? They've got a massive support up there, so we're definitely going to have to see how this pans out. Also, I'm going to be talking about boxing with the three hitters, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, all at each other, a war of words. Seems like they all want to get it on, but is it just talk? Are they just talking it up for the social media? Definitely going to talk about that as well. So the Premier League are looking to start back up in June. Football will be back in June. Listen, I don't know about this. I think it's just too little too late. I don't think there's going to be enough time trying to complete this season. Like in what, 5 weeks? Trying to finish off all the games? That's going to be nuts. I don't think it's going to start in June. You tell us April the 3rd, that didn't come about. Then it's April 30th. We haven't reached that yet, and you're changing the date. And now it's like early part of June. Now, how is that going to impact? It's going to be a knock-on effect, isn't it? How is that going to impact the contracts, players' contracts? How is that going to impact the transfer window? Like, think of it, players' contracts. If there's no, I'm hearing that there's no actual date for the deadline to complete the season. So if you extend it past, which they're hoping they can end it by the 30th, of June. So if you extend it past that, what about the players' contracts? Our players, they're not going to be loyal to stay. Certain players have got their moves already lined up, so if they play and get injured, that's going to cost them. So let's just even just think of that alone. And also the transfer windows. When is the transfer window going to open? When is the season going to start? It's just chaos right now. It's mad. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, how they're going to do this. But listen, they get paid X amount of money to figure this out, so I'm sure they're going to come up. But you know what? I had a really good conversation with one of my, my good pals, and we just spoke about the bigger picture, like what sports really means. It's not just, on the fields or in the ring or on the tracks or on the court. It's also, has a massive impact on the people that you don't see, the guys behind the scenes, from the caterers to the security to the members of staff that are involved in the foundations or the community work, or down to the people that work in the shops, are all affected by this. There's no work, there's no football. Now, I'm all for completing the season. I am now. Before I was like, nah, Nolan boy, just start the season again, you know, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't make sense. And you can't do that. You can't do that. You have to complete the season. Do you know why it's important that the season needs to be completed? If we're able to see how things can be managed at the back end of this season, when it comes to the next season or the start of next season, you're going to be in a better position to understand how we can move forward with playing behind closed doors or maybe a limited amount of capacity. I don't know what's going to happen, but, you know, something needs to be figured out. And whoever has that decision to be made, I don't think everybody's going to agree 100%, but we're going to see. We're going to see. It's going to be interesting. Very, very interesting times at the present moment. And you lot let me know. What do you lot think? How can this season really end? How can it be completed? Do you think it's going to be completed in June? First and foremost, do you think June, like they're saying at the ending of June is when they're looking to wrap things up? So do you think we've got enough time? 5 weeks here and there about? We just have to wait and see. So moving on to the big news that's coming out of the northeast of England. Newcastle United. Newcastle United? Why, man? Oh, sorry. It's the West Geordie accent. So some big news coming out of Newcastle right about now. They're being taken over by a Saudi Arabian crown prince by the name of Mohammed bin Salman. I think I got that right. And he's basically closing in a takeover that's worth around 300 million. And the Saudi is basically funded by a Saudi consortium who's going to be, you know, obviously taking over things. So Mike Ashley's finally got his bag, 300 large cash. He's looking for upfront payments. He's not looking for no breakdown. And I think that's what's been the kind of failing to past negotiations of people coming in for Newcastle. A lot of, you know, consortiums or groups have tried to come and broker a deal where they pay bit by bit. And Mike Ashley's not been on that. He wants his money up front. No long thing. With all that money, is Newcastle going to be the new powerhouse? Well, listen, this guy is worth about 260 billion. So he slaps Roman Abramovich, he slaps the Man City owner. Is money really going to change things for Newcastle? So it's going to be interesting to see what Newcastle can really do. What can they achieve with all this money? Can it really change their fortunes? Can it really change their club? Listen, we've seen it before, innit? We've seen it with Chelsea. They got a bit of money. They changed things up. Manchester City got money and you've seen what they've done. So, I don't know. Maybe they'll be able to get back those glory years. Now, listen, when I'm saying glory, I'm talking about like Kevin Keegan. I would love it. I would love it if we beat them. Kevin Keegan days, Faustino Esprilia, Philippe Albert, David Ginola, them days. If they can get players of that quality back in the days and they can get them now, or even better, you know, they'll definitely be up there, I reckon. Because we've seen it before, innit? Money does change things. Whether or not you like it, money changes a lot of things. So it's going to be interesting to see. The question I'm going to ask is this. Where can we see Newcastle finishing next season? Do you think they're going to have enough time to enter the transfer window and make the changes that they need? Is Steve Bruce going to still be there? I think he's gone straight away. This is going to be like the situation when Mark Hughes was at Manchester City. We saw what happened there. They came with the money and he was gone. So going to be very interesting times for Newcastle fans. But listen, one thing I will say, when it comes to the Newcastle fans, come rain or shine, they are there. Full support. I've always wondered, you know, Newcastle, are they a big club? What makes them a big club? The fan base, or is it, well, it can't be trophies because they ain't won nothing since 2006. And that ain't really a real trophy. The Intertoto Cup, I think it was. And then before that was 1955 FA Cup. They beat Man City 3-1. So, yeah, it's definitely not on trophies. So it's their fan base. So with a big fan base like that, can, you know, the new owners, have they seen something that we ain't seen? I've always said that that club there, with the fan base they've got, surely they've got to do something with that. Surely they could be, you know, a major force. So, you know, you got the likes of Leicester, who've won the title of recent years, and, you know, they've been out of the top four, you know, standing. So maybe with all this money, they'll be able to do something. So watch this space. Newcastle fans, you must be hella happy. So moving on to boxing, last but not least. Listen, with this year, at the present moment, I don't even know where to begin with this. So bear with me. 3 of the big hitters, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder. All 3 of them having a war of words, getting onto each other. I don't know. Is it just a social media thing? Right now there's no boxing. They're still trying to build up, you know, their characters, their personas, still trying to keep people interested. That's personally what I think. It's real quiet right now. It's not like they can go and, you know, have the fights that they've, you know, they wanted to have. So a lot of sitting around, a lot of time on their hands. It's not even like they can just go and train for a fight because you don't know when they're going to be fighting. So a lot of the talk right now that we're hearing between the trio, I believe, is just talk. So with that being said, I'm going to start off with Wilder. Deontay Wilder. Oh my days. After his loss against Tyson Fury, it's just been, what can I say? It's just been embarrassing for him, really. I feel like he should have just taken his L, sit back quietly, regroup, and come back stronger. You know, you can't let a loss define you, as we know. As he's said in the past, he said all of these things. But at the present moment, it is really defining him. His comments at present moment and what he's said, and the comments that he's made since he's lost, the excuses. I thought David Hayes' excuse with the toe was the worst losing excuse ever. But Deontay Wilder just topped that. Because he would come out here and Deontay Wilder's coming out here and saying that his suit was too heavy. Your suit. Listen, your suit is too heavy. You would have tested out the suit the night before, you know. You remember like the days when you went secondary school, when your mum got you the new blazer, your new uniform, and you're trying it out because you're like, yeah, I'm going to kill him with this shit tomorrow. How you don't know that the weight is too heavy for you? Come on, man. I don't want to dwell on that because that's been covered loads of times. I want to touch on the new stuff that he's been saying. Now check this out. He's saying on the day of the fight, when he went into the ring, he took off his mask, he took off his suit and all that. He didn't feel himself. He didn't feel right. Okay, maybe he's still talking about the suit. No. He said that he was feeling like a zombie. A zombie. He said he felt like a zombie, he wasn't feeling like himself. Anybody that knows who he is, knows what he's about, knows that he wasn't himself that day. You can see the way that he wasn't attacking. He was on the back foot. My guy, leave it alone, innit? Leave it alone. From the first excuse, saying that the suit was too heavy, to now saying that he was a zombie, he wasn't feeling himself, he's saying that there's snakes in his camp. He has to chop the heads off the snakes in his camp. Listen, you just gotta accept the L, man. Accept the L, come back stronger. The main thing that he needs to do is recognize that beating all the opponents before Tyson Fury, you was winning in a particular way, in a certain way that you relied on, and that was the heavy bomb that you have in that right hand. Seeing that that ain't working this time, the best thing that Wilder should do is go back, regroup, you know, be a student of the game, go back, regroup, and come back, change what you need to, you know, make the changes accordingly. You see what Tyson Fury did. The first fight, after a layoff of 2.5 years, he almost beat him as well. But he went back and he's like, you know what, I'm not fighting the same way I did. I think there's a better way to fight this guy, and beat him. He went back, he changed up his tactics and got the W. So with Wilder, I can't really stress this anymore. I'm really disappointed in a man that I was seemingly getting, you know, I wasn't his biggest fan because I just didn't like the way he boxed. Till this day, I still feel like he's not a great boxer, but he doesn't have to be with the power that he has. But at the same time, is when you are now talking the talk and the excuses that you're giving, it just, yeah. And I don't know whether or not he's, you know, salty or he has real valid reasons. It could be true. There could be snakes. His suit could have been heavy. He could have felt like a zombie. But listen, we don't want to hear that. Same way we didn't want to hear nothing about David Hayes' toe. We don't want to be hearing any excuses. Take the L. Even Pacquiao done that one time as well against Mayweather. I don't want to be hearing about your shoulders hurting after the fight. Every fighter going into a fight, you know, when you're having your 12 to 16 week camp, is coming into a fight with injuries. That's without a doubt. So we don't want to hear it after the fight. We don't want to hear nothing. So it's going to be very interesting to see, because Fury has now responded by saying, "Keep letting yourself down, Bronze Bomber. It's sad it was you I smashed. And that's the truth. Just admit and move on. It's just a fight. You win some, you lose some. That's boxing, pal." And listen, you know, in just typical Tyson Fury, he doesn't really care about all of that. Even more so to the fact that Wilder actually saying that he's not considering Fury as a champion. That's just crazy. So Wilder's saying that he doesn't consider Fury the champ because they've got one more fight left. And so he's counting the draw, Fury winning, and then obviously the third fight, the trilogy, is where he has the opportunity to maybe beat him. Okay, logically it kind of makes sense, but you got to give the credit where credit is, you know, well deserved, you know. Just take the L and move on. You know, if you're going to fight for the third time, just make sure that you do everything that you can, everything that's possible, train hard, change up your tactics, and go and get your belt back. Personally, I can't see him winning. I see Fury taking that fight once again. I can see a similar outcome where Fury nullifies that right hand. And yeah, same outcome, Fury to win. So it's going to be very interesting to see. So moving on to Anthony Joshua, and like I said, all of these fighters are linked, especially with the war of words that's going on right now. And he had a lot to say about Deontay Wilder, mentioning that, you know, that he's a bitch. It's stemming from the fact that when Joshua lost to Ruiz, and Wilder had a lot to say about the way he lost, considering the opponent and how everybody felt about, you know, Andy Ruiz. And then when Deontay Wilder eventually loses to Fury in the way he lost, Anthony Joshua said he wanted to say everything under the sun. He had a whole list of things to say, but he said, you know what, he's going to keep it down and, you know, keep it to himself. You know how Anthony Joshua is. He considers himself the ambassador of boxing. He doesn't really want to go back and forth. During the interview that he had a lot to say. He did really want to give Wilder abuse. But listen, I think the position that Anthony Joshua is in now, he just wants the titles. He wants to unify the titles. I'm not sure how close these guys are, Anthony Joshua and Wilder, to fighting, but I do know that eventually when they do fight, it's gonna be real personal between them, because that's what happens, you know, when fighters don't meet each other and you don't know who's ducking who, but when they don't meet for a very long time, it becomes a blame game, innit? Whether or not you could be lying about not ducking, but eventually you're gonna believe it. Joshua's saying he's ducking, Wilder's saying he's ducking, but eventually when they meet, it's gonna go off. So that's brewing up. But Joshua then went on to be talking about, his current state, his ambitions to wanting to unify the titles, wanting to fight Fury. So he wants to fight Fury first. I believe that it's a case where he just wants to go after the titles. They're both claiming that they're the top dog at present moment, Fury having the WBC belt and Anthony Joshua having all the other belts. He considers himself the undisputed champion, or the unified champion, should I say, having the majority of the belts. We all know once you get all the gems, once you get all the stones, you become Thanos. It's going to be very interesting to see whether or not this fight can be made, which means it's going to take for someone like Wilder to take a back seat, and I can't see that happening. There's a lot of mandatories involved as well, with Joshua needed to fight Pulev. I can't really see that happening anytime soon, especially the state of boxing at the present moment with what's going on, lockdown and quarantine. So we are suffering as a whole sporting nation. But it's going to be very interesting to see, Fury versus Joshua, or Joshua versus Wilder, or as Joshua said, he wants to fight Fury, take his belt, and then go after your Dylan Whites, Usyk. So that's going to be very interesting to see. There's the heavyweight division at the present moment, I can personally say is back. It's exciting again. We're seeing all the belts over here. We get to see our champions. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not America, the States, can get their belt back with Wilder. Listen, I can't see Wilder beating Fury anytime soon. So the belts are going to be here. Joshua's looking for that one belt to complete. He's set. So let's see what happens. They're all talking right now. There's a lot of talk, not enough fighting, no fighting even. But we all know talk is cheap, talk is cheap. So it's going to be interesting to see once boxing returns, what's going to happen. So out of the three fighters that I mentioned, the three big hitters, who would you want to see fight? If you was like an Eddie Hearn or another boxing promoter, who would you book? Would it be a Fury Joshua, Fury Wilder, or is it a Joshua Wilder? Who would you book? Or is there any wild cards that you like to throw in there, like a Dillian White or Usyk? I'm not really too sure about Usyk. I need to see him more at the elite level, but hey, it's someone to look out for. So hey, it'd be very interesting to see who you lot pick. Let me know, man. Comment below. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Hope you enjoyed the first ever episode of A Dash of Sports. And this is going to be my first time saying this. Please like, subscribe, and 100% please comment. Leave your feedback, whether it's good or bad. It doesn't matter. All it does, it helps me to grow, get better, so that I can, give you better content each time I do this. I really enjoyed myself, by the way, I really did. And also, for further information about future episodes and also your day-to-day sporting updates, please head over to my Instagram. That's A Dash of Sports, A Dash of Sports on Instagram. I'll leave all the information in the description. And yeah, please be safe, stay safe, and until next time, peace.